Good morning, it's September 21st, 2022, and it's time to keep up on our apple tasting. Got new stuff ripening up. Plants wait for no man. We're going to start here with apple I nicknamed Dutch Master because it has this just really cool antique oil painting type of look to the russeting. You can see right here, this beautiful russeting. Some people would call it ugly. It definitely would never make it into a commercial apple. This apple is probably not completely ready, but I've been eating a few early specimens. This one's damaged, so it might be a little riper. Also, I find that I think it's better on the leading end than the tail end of its season. So this is a cross between Gold Rush and Grenadine. It'd be Grenadine X Gold Rush. It is very hard. This is a very, very firm, hard apple. I like that. Some people don't. Nice flavor in this. It's definitely on the leading edge of ripe, but it's really good. It's peppy, acidic, kind of like a flavorful vitamin C drink or something like that. It's really nice. I like this apple quite a bit when it's at its best, and it looks really cool. Because we just had a heavy rain, I expect to see these Wixen begin to crack. Usually within a few days after a real heavy rain, they'll start cracking. So I may have to pick them before they're even ripe. Right somewhere in here, I think it was like right there, maybe over here, but right in this area, I found an apple on the ground. It was nice size, nice shape. I bit into it. It was hard, like very firm, crunchy, and delicious. So I took out my phone and just shot some quick video, which I'm going to play for you because I didn't want to miss that moment. But I could never figure out where it came from. So I'm out in the apple breeding trial rows here. We're just having the first big rain of the year. It's September, I don't know, around 15th or 16th or something like that. I found this on the ground. I don't know where it came from. It came from up there somewhere. I need to figure it out because this is extremely flavorful and very crisp. Listen. Yeah, this looks really promising. It's pretty, it's big. It has something I'm always chasing after, which is like these kind of artificial fruit candy type of flavors. I don't know how else to describe them. Like sometimes you can pick one out. This one tastes a little bit more like a generic mix of them. You know, maybe some watermelon and some berries and stuff like that. But whatever it is, it's delicious. It's great. I love those kind of flavors. I always want more of them in apples. I use those kind of apples in breeding just for that reason. And now I need to figure out where this came from. And hopefully there's more of them this year and we'll get to taste more. But there's a good chance I won't be able to figure it out and I'll just have to wait for another year and be like, oh, I remember that apple, when I get to try it again in a couple of years. So I don't know which tree it fell off of. It could have been in this 2015 row right here, or it could have been from back there somewhere. Whatever it was delicious and it had a flavor that I've been chasing for a while. I'm pretty sure this isn't it. And these are actually from two different trees. So, you know, it could be that it's off one of these trees that still has some apples on it, but I have a feeling it was like the only apple on the tree. I'm just gonna try this. It's too damaged to leave on the tree. You know what? Actually, that has a similar flavor. What are these crosses? Sweet 16 Rubaiyat. You know, it does have some of the same flavors. Totally different shape and size, though. Different texture. Definitely not as good, but it was damaged. I'd say there's a vague possibility that it's off this tree and it just fell off and then rolled down there. But more likely it's from something else, but it could very likely be from one of these Sweet 16 Rubaiyat crosses. I don't think this is going to be it either. This had a lot of apples on it, and I visited it in my last video. Since then, I've had several that were actually very interesting, and I think this apple is promising. Okay, it's splitting, probably from the rain. Yeah, I feel like I should pick one of these, and I think it's going to be this one. That came off pretty easy. It's got a lot of cracks, so it might be prone to cracking in the rain. Yeah, this one's overripe. Let's try another one. This is probably where we want to get this apple. Here are the apple seedlings that I planted this year. I got them in late, so, you know, they're pretty small. You know, a lot of them are plenty big to graft and grow out on dwarfing rootstock or established trees, but I'm probably going to leave them here for another year because I don't want to plant anything else here since I'm going to be moving anyway. You see a couple of these have red leaves. Those are Catherine crossed with Sam Young. Very interesting. I would not expect red leaves on those. You know, they could be contaminated pollen. This is pink parfait and Catherine, so who knows? Maybe Catherine has some tendency to throw red leaves. Okay, so let's start here with Cherry Crush. Looks like these are ripening very fast. I need to start eating them. That looks pretty good. Getting a little more cherry flavor. Still very subtle. This is similar to the last one, which was like a few days ago, or I can't remember what. Just a little bit more cherry flavor. I need to go through those ASAP and make sure I'm getting them before they get overripe. This one's a little on the edge of overripe. This is Appaloosa. I have lots of good apples to taste here, hoping this branch doesn't break. But, you know, I don't want to thin these out because these are all pollinated. Then again, if the whole branch breaks, I lose all of them, but I'm going to take the chance. I'm really looking forward to trying these this year, but they're a very late ripener, so we'll see. They're a long ways off. Granny Dean, cross between Grenadine and Granny Smith. No good, kind of foamy flesh. Look at that. I mean, it looks a lot like Granny Smith. Who knows? Maybe it'll ripen up. Granny Smith is a very late apple, so what's that back there? So this is probably a Rubaiyat King David cross. It looks like the tag is lost. Look at this tiny little tree, and it's producing all these big apples. You know, it tastes like it could shape up, but it's definitely not ready yet. Looks like that one just fell early. Interesting, interesting. Now this apple I usually miss picking it, end up picking it too late. It looks like it's probably ready. It makes big nice apples and you always hope it's going to be promising, but it's like, you know, I'd cook with it or something, but it's just not very fun to eat. Useful, but utilitarian. Okay, here's another red fleshed apple. It's pretty tannic. Nice flavor, nice acidity. I think it would make a good, maybe applesauce, which I've said about this apple before. Yeah, that's another Rubinet X Rubaiyat cross there. All right, the reason I'm hesitant to pick this is that if I pick this one, that one's probably going to fall off. But this is starting to smell fragrant, and I just feel like it's time to taste one of these. Don't fall off. Don't fall off. You can do it. Hang on there. Put this bag back on so if it falls off, it won't fall on the ground and get narfed by something. Yeah, looking a little green there. I had meant to look this up and see what the ripening date was, but I forgot. It's got some scab going there. Oh. It's not bad for being underripe. It should develop, you know, obviously more sugar because it's starchy. The starch is going to get converted into sugar. Probably some more flavor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this up and I'm going to stick it in the fridge in a bag because last year I took half one and I had cut it in half to taste it or take pictures or something. I put it in the fridge and forgot about it for a long time. It might have been a month or more. And it was actually pretty good. It held up really well in the fridge. So I have a feeling that if I store this, it might actually ripen up and I get some idea of how it, you know, tastes. A little disappointing now though. This is kind of a tragedy. So this tree was leaned way over and I tried to straighten it and I heard something crack. Either I broke the stem or I broke a big root. So I just kind of left it and it didn't do that well, but there's something here we can taste. This is a cross between Pink Parfait and Rubaiyat. So last year this was like very strongly fruit flavored. Tasted like watermelon candy to me. Get out of here. For some reason, there's just tons of weeds around this tree too. They just did not do well with this tree this year. Last year it had severe water core, but I was, you know, when I tasted it last year, it was very promising. Like I started making crosses with it right away. So let's see what it's like. Like the last one I tasted a week or so ago, it has kind of a weird musky flavor, but I like it actually. That one was very overripe. This one looks underripe. Peculiarly musky. I like it. It's fun. It's interesting. One was overripe. This one's a little underripe. The flesh on this is kind of waxy and fine-grained and juicy. I like it. I like the texture of it a lot. It does have water core again this year. You know, look at these. They're just sad. It's just a sad example of this apple. And some of these were very large last year, so, you know, we can't expect too much. But I just think this apple is very promising and really worth keeping an eye on. That one, I'm going to let that go a little longer. So I'll taste these again over the next week or two and see if they taste any different. Little crab apple, Sweet 16 and Wixen. Sweet, savory, bland. This is what you call a sweeting. It could be good for processing into basically sugar, you know, apple butter, apple syrup, you know, cider syrup, things like that. You know, I wouldn't say it's a cull yet, but it's not very promising. It's like the birds are starting to attack my amber wines here. This is very fragrant, and you can see it's starting to yellow up here and get this like yellow color. It's not quite an amber color. I think over time it probably will be. Nice bite. Yeah, that's good. So like last time we tasted this, again with the savory flavor that makes you want to chew it and get after it. I think if this apple has a major flavor fault, it's just, it could be a little sharper. Like it's kind of cloying, like just, you know, super sweet candy kind of thing. I have a feeling that this apple would be really good in certain types of cooking. In fact, I'm probably going to take this and put it in my beet salad tonight. And I'm going to take this one too. I'm going to cut both of these up and try them out in there. I think that once these savory apples are developed more, and there's a lot more of them, we get some that are super savory, like really, really strong. They're going to have unique new uses in cooking that, you know, chefs are not familiar with. Oh, so earlier today, I ate one of these. Okay, Williams Pride Vixen 15-8. So this apple actually ripened a long time ago, and I had put one in the fridge and forgot about it, and it was still very firm, quite fruity and tasty. That one's somewhat promising. Here's the early bite me type apple. It's just not that interesting this year. It's a little bit appley. It's not as savory as it was last year. Maybe this is just underripe, but it's already kind of getting a little too tender. Overall, just not impressing me this year. I think this is the same cross as Cherub, which would be Wixen X Rubaiyat. It's not quite ready. I'm just not finding a tag here. But I think that's what it is. It's going to be a Rubaiyat X Wixen or Wixen X Rubaiyat because it's right next to Cherub there, and usually plant them all, you know, in rows. But yeah, look how cute that little apple is. Nice red flesh. It's just still starchy. Fortunately, there's two more on the tree. Kind of tart and refreshing. Not as much berry flavor as I want out of it. But yeah, it's promising. And look how cute. It's so cute. And when I first saw this apple, I was like, damn, that's a cute little flat apple. And they're all like that. I'm like, really want to find a tag on this thing. There it is. Yeah, so it's Wixen X Rubaiyat 13-4. Right next door to Cherub. And here's another one right next door to it. Same cross. Let's try to find one. So this one's on the ground. Either I just knocked it off. That looks like it could be close to ripe. Whoa. What is that? It's a little strange, kind of fibrous. My nails are worse than usual. People complain about my nails in these videos. Mostly men, peculiarly. I was dyeing some leather black today, so my skin is all purple. I don't even know what to say about this. Well, it's not that interesting right now. There's lots of them on here, so I'll get to taste it a bunch more times and see how it goes. I really like to taste them too early. I want to taste them too early, and I want to taste them too late. I've been thinking about a name for this one here. The first name I thought of was Pie Queen because it's a really good cooking apple. It's nice and tart. It's very late. It hangs on the tree into the winter. It has nice flavor. I made probably the best apple pie I've ever made was last Thanksgiving from a bunch of these, a bunch of those right there, or that one down there, which is very similar. Both Lady Williams Grenadine crosses. And then just a bunch of random seedling apples, but all seedling apples, some red-fleshed apples. Man, that pie was so good. Everyone was like, wow, this pie is really good. Just what you want to hear if you cook something or bake something, you know. The first name I thought of was Pie Queen. I was like telling my mom, I was like, yeah, I need to name this apple. I was thinking about Pie Queen. And she just looked at me with no expression at all. And just stared at me. And I was like, what is it that bad? But Kitchen Queen, Pie Queen, the best name would be like, you know, indicating that it's a winter apple, like a winter cooking apple. That one and that other one I was talking about, both are really good for sauce too. You know, I just spotted a bite me here that's got some damage, so that might be ready. Worth eating, it's shaping up. As I've said so many times before, these have to ripen on the tree really well before they're at their best. So, I was going to spit that out, but I just kept chewing it, chasing after that savory bite me flavor, even though there's not very much of it yet. Wow, you know, I haven't even looked at this tree hardly all year. I grafted a bunch of new stuff on it. Here's a new graft that grew like absolute madness. This is what happens when you graft onto mature trees. Anyway, it's just absolutely overrun by suckers. This has like amber wine, pinker lady, a bunch of my seedlings, just trying to grow a bunch of scion wood, and you can see I got a bunch. So there's 2 grafts right here. This graft has 1, 2, 3 on it. This graft has 1. Well, there's 2 grafts on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4 scions. Some of them are very long, so you can see that if you graft onto a mature tree, you can grow scion wood really fast. This is Appaloosa, very cool. I had, you know, scions of this about this size, little skinny things, sell for up to over $100 on auction last year because people are, you know, want this stuff. So now this year I get to, you know, put on like a whole bunch more and bring that price down for people. This one's vanilla pink on the top, pinker lady, amber wine, good stuff.